welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Folks, we have a special night tonight. 1 second, please. And the party I was bringing on tonight is having problems. So here we go. Always glitches on the front end, folks. This is the way my world works all day. And it's beautiful. We're just having a human experience. And 1 second. And we'll be moving forward. Anyways, sorry folks, this is always something, and welcome to my world. Anyways, glad everybody could join us tonight. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. And anyways, tonight's fresh start. We started our curriculum for so everybody that showed up Tuesday that didn't get the curriculum, I guess it's going to be a long night. You didn't bring your pens, pencils, nor your books, so I guess what happens is everybody gets to go to the back of the class. I'm trying to give direction of flow because I care enough about everybody, and apparently nobody really wants direction of flow. My guest has stepped in, but before I start, I just wanted to cover, folks, we posted, maybe my producer can give me exactly where to send people to go because I really don't have a clue because I had a different direction, and I really need a little hand-holding because I'm technologically deficient like the masses as well. At least I'll admit it. Anyways, based on that, tonight's call, so for all those who didn't get the memo, you can click on www.freedomreigns.us because I really wanted everybody to have the materials in hand because it's 2 documents. And now if you go to that page I just told you to go to, you can go to Our Team. And if you go to Our Team and click on Peter, it will take you effectively over to my page. And when you get to my page, you'll be able to go ahead and click on the privatist.me icon at the top instead of having to type it in so you won't get lost. And once you get to that site, that's where everybody gets to sign up. It's free because this is where I do education. This is where I trying to get the collective minds to all come together to affect a positive change on us all. So instead of trying to give generalizations, I like to give specifics. That's why I like to do attachments because attachments, that's how I learned. In the military, they're really, really good about teaching us exactly what to do and how to do it, and they're really good about directives. They call them directives. I call them memos. So in order for me to get the memo, I like the picture word association. Anyways, once you get onto the privatist.me site, and just for in case you want to just type it into your computer, you can. It's privatis.me, and that will get you into the open portal and allow you to put in a username and a password. And once you get done with that, you can go to the subsection 3rd icon over. It's called Mind. And on that, once that opens up, it'll show you the free 8-week course and all the attachments. Right now there's just 2 because I don't want to put 8 weeks of attachments out in front of everybody to confuse everybody. So I like to keep this a collective energy stream psychologically as well as so that everybody can see it, feel it, touch it. Every week will be posted there as far as the audios as well. So this will be the collective curriculum station that everybody gets to come back. So if you miss this week or if you're next week, everybody comes on board. If they missed last week, then they'll be able to go into the curriculum site and grab what I talked about last week. Because, folks, the train's leaving the station. This is going to be an 8-week curriculum, and I'm going to give basically a continuity of flow so that your mind can understand how this thing all started, how we got to where we got. So we got to start from the beginning, and it all starts with our birth, folks, with the birth certificate bond. Obviously, I'm not going to do major history lessons on 200 years ago and stuff like that. But if you want a little bit of history lesson, it's on my website as well. Under the videos page, everybody really needs to go watch Changes on the Horizon Part 2. And that's a really, really good place to start because it gives you about an hour and 5 minutes on a history lesson that you'll never get from the public school system on how the banking system got tied in, how they changed up everything in 1933, going to the birth certificate system. We are now in the hypothecation system. So, anyways, it's right under my name on the tab. So, folks, that's where everybody needs to go. I'm not going to belabor it for the next 2 hours. So, those that didn't come to class with the notes, I guess it's going to be a long 2 hours, but because I'm going to be discussing literally what a birth certificate bond looks like, and it's basically irrevocable proof that for those that don't believe that there's such a thing as a birth certificate bond, this is, well, you're just a hypothecation event, this will shatter that illusion and give you total clarity. So that's why I live in this place where I can show you so you can see it, feel it, touch it, and that was what helps the collective mindset to say, wow, I was unaware of that, and now I have a different set of facts to post my informations on to give me more clarity. And as a matter of fact, I have a special guest on tonight. She's a beautiful lady. She told me to take my medication, but I failed to do so. And she's a pioneer. She's the one who set the stage for my collective mindset to get changed, as well as multiple others. But she was a pioneer that went out in front of us. I love her for it because she's one of the sharpest blades in the drawer. And I thank her for doing what she did, because she went out before us young bucks, us younger folks, and now it's time for us to pick up the ball, and that means collectively all of us, folks. That means you too, because we all need to come together as a collective, unified front, not to do battle, not to war with anybody, not to cause duress, but to get our minds right so that we can have this paradigm shift that we all really need, because the system, the way it's set up, is broke, and it's just a modality to effectively control mechanism for the masses. So this is why I'm doing this 8-week curriculum, so that everybody can sort of follow the bouncing ball and have a whole heck of a lot more clarity. So it's like boot camp. So we're all going to boot camp together. And so those that didn't get on to privatist.me, now they're rushing for the door like a rock concert, and everyone wants to push through the door. Well, I covered it for 2 hours on Tuesday and tried to give everybody the collective heads up. So, matter of fact, my beautiful guest, she has an excellent site called spiritualeconomicsnow.net. It's a great site, a plethora of outstanding information that's really opened my eyes, as well as her beautiful book she wrote back in 2004. And I got my collective hands on it back in about 2005 while I was going through my paradigm shift. But she gave me truth at a different level that gave me total clarity onto what was going on, and now we're really over the last 7-8 years, we're really connecting the dots on multiple levels between the bonds and the hypothecation events, and folks, it's really just all about the money. So with that being said, I'm going to bring Miss Mary into the room, because she's a beautiful soul, another kindred spirit, and that's why we're on In the Spirit of Things, and that's why I named this show that. Because when we get our hearts, minds, and souls right, folks, we as a collective, we have the power. We are the power. So it all lies with us. And so she stood up first before us to take the cannon fodder, and I'm standing up now and taking the cannon fodder. But that's all right. Hey, I got strong arms and a strong back. I can take it. And so this is where we now all get to move forward together. So on that, Mary, are you there?
I am.
And I thank you so much for... I just wanted to thank you so much for what you've done, going out in front of all of us and putting your butt on the line, because, you know, people don't realize us folks that are sort of who get this on a different level and have moved forward to get our minds right. It is a paradigm shift, and it's almost a shock to the system until we do sort of get it. So this is a beautiful thing that you brought forward to us, and you set the stage. And so I'm actually looking at your site talking about warrants and stuff, but we are going to talk about the birth certificate bond in a minute, and I just want you to share what helped you shatter your illusion and break this sea of illusion that's you were stuck in when you came on board, before you brought this forward.
Oh, good grief. I, as a child, I knew there was something desperately wrong. My father would have to leave to go to work. I'd say, why are you going to work? And he would tell me that he had to go and get money, earn money. I said, for what? He said, to pay for the house, to pay for the food. And right then I thought, no, that can't be right.
Right.
Why would he leave family to get something where we already have the house? And what do you mean food? Aren't we all supposed to be eating? Anyway, so it went on from there. I was very young. But and I thank you for the kudos, by the way. And also, I got to tell you, I'm really, really grateful that you're doing this show in this 8-week program because you would not believe the number of emails I get where, here's my problem, what do I do? And I think, gee, and I write back saying, I don't know how much you know. In other words, how can I answer a question when I don't know whether somebody is onto the concept of the bank fraud or whether they're just in trouble because they've overextended their credit card and they actually think they owe money on this credit card? It's mind-boggling. So I just think, well, I don't know where you are. I don't know. Usually they've read my book, but let's face it, my book is almost archaic at this point. It was 03 when I wrote the bulk of it. And,
right.
We've come along, and that's often what I write. They say, well, you told me to do this on page whatever. And well, I never told you to do anything, and I was adamant about that in my preface. But the other thing is, I said, we have come a long way in the last 9 years, so please don't presume. And that's where I sort of have to feel people out and find out what they know. And even then I'm thinking, holy jumping, how do we bring them up to speed? So I thank you profusely for beginning this essentially 8-week training course to take people right back to the beginning and start with the fraud behind the concept of the birth certificate bond and where the banks got involved and the Crown and the ad nauseum. I mean, it's my hat's off to you. Carry on.
Well, I thank you, Mary. Yeah, well, like I say, you set the stage for getting people like me to, because I sort of came from the same paradigm, challenging Catholicism when I was stepped into that as a child by not a choice of my own, but at the ripe old age of 13, I said, something's amiss with this when I got to go to this guy called a priest. He puts his pants on the same way as I do, and how does he become the middleman? In other words, I was thinking, who the heck died and left this guy God? So inquiring minds want to know. Hell, even at 10 years old, I was asking my parents about property tax. I says, because I was from the rape and pillage, the Constitution state. By the way, that's an oxymoron too. Anyways, Connecticut. And they were they were teaching in school that all men are free. Well, I asked my parents, how can you be free if you're paying a fee? And they just looked at me like a deer in headlights. It's like, who is this our kid? How did he come up with this question? So I put him in a corner because, like I say, I think we're born this way, Mary. So we are the collective shift because our minds knew something was amiss, and we were trying to put our thumb on it. So that's why we asked these concerted questions, because I really didn't get into the fact that in Catholicism, and by the way, I didn't get my confirmation, bad boy, according to them, not to me, because I went to Sister Catherine, and I basically, I said, something's amiss here, Sister Catherine. I just need you to answer 2 questions. And, well, the first question was, that guy puts his pants on the same way I do, the one that got a collar. I said, so how did he get the authority to operate as a middleman for me to so-called the God, to God? And she just looked at me. She goes, that's blasphemy. I said, yeah, well, I said, no. I said, what really is blasphemy is the part where you want me to bow down because somebody died and left him God, and I got to go ask this guy, this middleman, for absolution. I said, I don't think I can bring myself to that. She goes, you're excommunicated. I said, thank you very much. You answered in the proper capacity that I was looking for. They called my parents and whatever. I said, because you see, that's what happens because the thinking mind asks questions, and they want to know the truth. The problem is the ones that have been pigeonholed, that's those folks. They all fit in the box. I never fit in the box. I'm the square peg in the round hole. Been that way my whole life. Even in the military, 10 years in the military, I was. My colonels loved me because they said, Doc, you ask all these questions, and I can't answer them. I said, I know. They put you officers in a box, too, because they don't want you thinking outside the box neither. So it's been a collective uphill climb for me, but I always, you know what, Mary, this is what it comes down to. I think it resonates in our hearts, our souls, and our minds. We just want the truth. The problem is they can't tell you the truth because if they do, then the jig is up, then the power play is gone, then the scam is gone. So, folks, listen to what we're sharing here. This is the collective mind. If you're here, you're asking questions, and you should be. I always ask questions. As a matter of fact, I drive them crazy asking questions because inquiring minds want to know. That's where I live. So if you can't answer the question, it's because they dumbed you down to the capacity to not to even be able to answer the question. So that tells me I need to go up higher than you to somebody who has a collective mind that can give me the answers that I seek. But for most of us, Mary, like you and I, we've been asking all the right questions. They just go silent. So to me, they acquiesce away their rights from their failure to respond in a plausible manner, because all they do is give us rhetoric and spin and chicanery and skullduggery and concealing. I mean, so if this is what the system has become, this is not a system I want to be in, and this is not what I'm letting my children inherit. At least I'm not laying down for it anyway. So I will change the collective mindset if they're willing to change. So if they're here, this is the start, and that's why I put together this 8-week curriculum just so I could condense with attachments. And that's what I'm saying, folks. If you didn't go over to privatist.me and get signed up, you didn't get the memo. So now you're going to be sitting here for 2 hours while I talk about this birth certificate bond, which is a beautiful document, by the way. And I know you probably had a chance to look at it, Mary, because this is where it all starts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know.
Well, this is great.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, this is great that you're doing this. I can't say it enough, because we've all listened to radio shows of people talking about things, and and certainly there is a bunch of us who have been rolling along over the years, and we grasp the concept of what the latest and greatest info is. But for those who are stepping forward into it, saying, "Oh, good grief, this is mind-boggling. Where do I start?" And here's what's true. I don't know where to tell them to start. I think, whoa, you've read my book, but that was a while back, and so I don't know where to direct you right now, because I don't know really who has the whole story or who can start you off or where you are in. So this is great. This is just great. We're going to take everybody right back to the beginning and say, here's what happened.
Right. Because until you don't see, and it's sort of like, that's why I posted that Changes on the Horizon Part 2, which is an incredible, easy to watch. Yep, no heavy lifting, folks. You just got to watch it. It's on my videos page. The reason you have to go watch that, because if you don't see that, you don't know how much skullduggery, and that's what I love about that video, is I don't have to do all the talking. And so this is a beautiful thing that I can actually shut up, send them to a video. That this guy named Rink, it took him 2.5 years just to create this one video, and he did such a succinct job of breaking down and following the bouncing ball. See, I was in the military, Mary, and I'm sort of, I had to train Marines, okay? If you don't know about Marines, I love my Marine brothers. They are they're beautiful men, women in the service. But at times, especially teaching medical modalities and stuff, I said, how can I best affect a training capacity and get full cooperation and get them to understand the concepts? See, so I'm a concepts type of guy. So I said, well, the best way to do it, and the colonel gave me full board to go forward on trade, because he loved the way I trained, because I broke it down to the simple. I don't care if you're a Wharton School of Finance graduate or you got an ASVAB test of 40 or below. You're going to get my memo when I get done, I promise. See, because when Doc gets shot and he's out of the picture, y'all got to patch each other up. So I had to teach them about what a pneumothorax was, which is a sucking chest wound, combat wounds and stuff like that. I taught them how to set fractures, and hey, if your buddy's got a carotid artery bleed, just go put your thumb on that sucker so he doesn't lose all 6 pints. I could teach information. So this is where my heart lives. This is where my mind lives. I said, how can I break this down to digestible, eatable bites for everybody to get on the same page? And this is what I'm doing with this 8-week curriculum, because there will be attachments every week. So this way you can see it, feel it, touch it. I'm going to give people proofs, because everybody wants proof. So, I can give you proof. If I can't give you proof, I shut up. And that's where I live, and that's why my beautiful birth certificate bond that I created for everybody's purview. It's a PDF as a download, so everybody could go see and take a look at it while I was discussing it, because there's certain things on here I have to discuss for everybody to understand what this means on the document. So I'm a deep digger, but I want to be able to dig so if you look at it, you're going to get the memo. You're going to understand, because I'll break it down in digestible chunks, and you did an extremely effective job in your book. So we are all teachers in our own right, but how do we bring our concepts forward is where, am I losing my student or is he getting it? Well, this is not calculus. This is basic math. 2 plus 2 actually equals 4. And I said if I can keep it down on that level, then we can all collectively come together and wrap our minds around these little simple concepts, because that's what it takes for you to have a shift in your mind to understand it. Because I didn't believe it for many years until I started seeing the proofs. And that's just like you. You started digging and finding another one. My goodness, the rabbit hole goes far, wide, and deep, and it's incredible. And so, but I don't want to busy people with the mundane. I don't want them stuck down rabbit holes. No, they don't have to. They don't have to understand all the implementing regulations, statutes at large, negotiable instruments laws. I want to keep this simple, because once you understand who you are, you can make the collective shift effectively, quickly, because you get the change between the ears, and that's where it counts the most. Until that happens, we're all stuck between the ears, and I was stuck for many, many years. So it took me a minute. So I said, well, I'm going to do an 8-week curriculum, and I'm going to condense this the best I know how with attachments, so everybody can sort of follow the bouncing ball. So for those who didn't get on privatist.me and sign up for free, because it is free, folks, that's how I love you enough. I want everybody to get the information for free. I ain't about the stinking money. I'm about the truth, and I want you to get the truth. But until you get the truth, you're in no man's land or dead man's land, for lack of a better term, and you can never come out of mammon until you get what's between the ears changed. And this is your so-called proverbial start. What do you think, Mary? You think I'm on the right track?
Oh, yeah, right on. And I also want to add that equally important to knowing who you are, I've often said, if I could add an addendum to the title of my book, equally important to remembering who you are is also knowing who you are not.
Right.
I think this is vastly important, is to find out where we ought not to be treading.
Very good. You know what? Hey, you just gave me, see, I'm not the sharpest blade in the drawer sometimes. You just gave me a beautiful thought. And I'll do a special class just on who you are not. That's beautiful.
There you go.
See?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
going to include. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Move to me.
Well, I want to be including that. I'll probably do it tomorrow. I'm going to rewrite an article that I wrote the other day, and then I realized it was nonsense. So I'm going to rewrite something, and I'll post it tomorrow, and I'll include some of certainly your link and a few other things, but that will also be part of it, is who we are not, because I think that's vastly important. And so, everybody already knows my my website, so spiritualeconomicsnow.net. But I'll post something probably by tomorrow night, but you can't trust me on that, so take a look for it over the next.
Yeah, we always get binded up. Hey, there's always somebody throwing a hand grenade at my front door. There's, the bear's on the porch. I got to get my baseball bat out and go beat them down.
Right. So I will be including, and then I'll also sort of, if to the extent of my ability, recap this show, if indeed I can, just an overall sort of thing, and also what's been on my mind lately. So yeah, take a look for my latest and greatest as of about tomorrow. Subject.
Excellent. Right. Yeah, somewhere in the very near future. Pay attention, folks. Matter of fact, on that note, we're already at a first break, and it's a beautiful thing because I like the break because it allows me to go get another snort of coffee, just as if I needed some more coffee.
Oh, you need coffee. You need coffee. Oh no.
Yeah. Well, you didn't send me any Quaaludes, sweetheart, so I had to go with the coffee. Anyways, hey, it's a beautiful thing. I'm trying to talk slow. I just forgot to take my medication today. Anyways, it's time for the paradigm shift. This is why we're here, and this is why you're here. Be the change you want to be, and I thank you all for showing up tonight because, you're on the right page. Folks, like I say, I won't put you in the gray areas. I'm going to put you direct in correspondence. And that was the whole reason for my brother Michael and I have, just like you, sister, you started your site. I put the collective information on the site and post everything for everybody's perusal, but it's up to them to do a little heavy lifting and actually go click on the icons. So I can't do that for people. Actually, I get emails all the time after I finish a show on my Mondays and Thursdays on Privatus, which is for the private members that are in those portals, and they'll actually send me an email saying, where do I get the private audio? Well, it's under the member section. So I thought last week I actually did a class just in the first 10 minutes of saying, if you're not sure where everything is on the site, it's your responsibility to actually go click on all the icons and find the little portals, because we do give direction of flow, and that's why I created Mind, Body, and Spirit. So I want continuity of flow. Michael, who's my webmaster, he is. I've got the benefit of a beautiful webmaster who actually has skills, because I sure as hell am the technically defunct guy. If you want me to put together a web page, you'd be standing in line for a long time. So based on that, I'm the information guy. I'm the educator, and this is where I live. My brother Michael is has the capacity to actually put things. I even have a cancer page that's incredible. It's free, by the way, for everybody, because it has PDFs that people can download for their personal consumption, so they won't be lied to by the so-called big pharma, big medical, FDA, because they're all incestuously tied together, and that's how I got my learn on. I just followed the money trail. Everything that I speak of, I just followed the money trail. When you start putting all this stuff together, that's when your collective mind says, man, it's just a money game. And that's really what it's really. We've all been reduced down to commercial entities for financial gain so that they can rape the estates and the beneficial interest of every man, woman, and child on planet Earth. Well, that's not going to be. I believe that the shift is here. I believe that it's already transforming. So, but that's why I said, you know what, Michael, we need to put together a site where everybody's going to need to come to this, because this is where they can get their collective mindset change. And I can't do all the talking, so I said, well, I'll create informations that are easy to follow so everybody can get on the same page together. But it does require people to take an action. So, like for my people who send me emails saying, hey, where's your last, I didn't get your salt talk on Celtic salt. It's on the site, and it's on the audios page, and you just got to go there and click on it. So, I mean, that's the type of stuff, and I know you're probably, and I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings here. That's not the objective. I'm just trying to say, you know, freedom comes with responsibility, but we all got to carry our own water, so to speak. Nobody can carry it for them. So this is a beautiful thing. I feel this beautiful collective shift psychologically, spiritually, and it's really, really coming together. And because you started you started it. It's all your fault. And it's a beautiful thing. You're a party to the shift. It starts with somebody. You know what? I don't think you threw a pebble in the pond. I think you threw a boulder. And this is what happens when you throw the boulder. You don't know who is going to reach out and touch where they get this shift in their minds and finally get right-minded and get to move their life forward in a positive direction. And that's what this is all about. Folks, we are not about warring. We are not about going into the courts and, I know I use vernacular like beating the brakes off and this and stuff. You know what, folks? I'm just about the love and the harmony and the spirit. When the collective love, harmony, and spirit comes together, it can move anything. And that's what it's going to take, is this collective shift psychologically for us all to get together to get on the same page. So I said, you know what? I guess I'm going to have to go back to boot camp and create a curriculum that everybody can follow and have access. And so I didn't want money to be an issue like everybody else thinks it always is. There's no money involved on signing up on the site for free, because this is where your collective shift comes, but you've got to step through the door and do some of the heavy lifting. I will give you direction. I will give you flow. But I can, you can bring the horse to water. You can't dunk his head in the water and make him drink. And that's not, so those that are ready, when the pain becomes so great, that's when the collective shift starts taking place, and that's what's happening now in UK, New Zealand, Canada, and I mean the folks in the system, they're scared witless because they know that we found them out. We know it's about the damn bombs. We know it's about everything. So, you know, now in Canada, hell, they got glass windows in structured buildings so that you can't get to the clerk of the court. They changed the name of the clerk of the court at infinitum so that you don't have somebody you can make responsible. Sort of like the IRS, you know, where they send you generalized BS through the mail looking for a warm body to attach to, i.e. the res. your energy. And see, because they can't be honest. I've been saying this for years. There's no what is it? The word I'm looking for. There's no honor in the public. And these folks that work in the public, shame on you for doing this to your brothers and sisters around the world. Because, you know what? It is all on the wheel, Mary. What goes around comes around. This bad mojo, this bad garbage, this dictatorial control mechanism is coming to an end. Whether they believe it or not, I know it is. Because, you know what? This is the wake-up call, and it's happening. So this is what's a beautiful thing. So, folks, the whole shift is about you getting your mind right. I can't do it for you. I can't think for you, but I can sure as hell help you get your mind right if you're willing to carry a little bit of the water. Mary, you've done an excellent, outstanding job, and it's frustrating for us on the front lines who go before everybody else. Yeah, well, gee, just do it for me. Everybody wants you to do it for them. Sweetheart, I get so much stuff across I got this issue, I got that. I don't have a magic wand, and you don't have a magic wand. The shift is required that everybody do some heavy lifting and dig in. I can direct you in the right direction, but I can't make you do anything to get the shift in your mind. Anyways, it's a beautiful thing, and that's why I said, okay, I'm going to start with the birth certificate bond, and I'm going to unequivocally wreck everybody's mindset that it's for all these naysayers out there say it's not about the bonds. It's got everything to do with the bonds, because they're stealing the beneficial interest of every man, woman, and child, and this is where it starts. They copyright you at birth, and that's the whole point. Mary, if you have the document, because I want to discuss this with you, for those who came to class without their, like I say, their pencils and pens, folks, you'll be able to go get this off the privatist.me site, and you can look at it after the fact, because you didn't bring your books and pencils to class, as some didn't know, and I'm aware. So you will have access to this. Sure.
Wait a minute. I thought it was on my desktop, but I can't find it.
Hey, I can take care of that. I have this magic icon that I can click on, and I'm going to do that because I can put it right in your little Skype box. It's all right, sweetie. Hey,
No, I don't.
I downloaded it 20 times. You know.
Okay. So where? Okay. So tell me where. Where?
I put it on your I think I posted it earlier today, so you might have to scroll up, but it should be clickable in your deal. If it's not, I'm sending it right now again, and you won't have to go.
Okay, you're talking about the BC, or are you talking about? Yeah, okay, I got the BC. Yes, I got the BC.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right. And I just this was the whole point of the exercise of me putting together this class. Is I wanted to give a little direction and flow of how beautiful this birth certificate bond is. It's got the beautiful blue borders on it. It's on bond paper. And this is what I wanted to share with the world so they could get their collective minds right. For those that don't believe it's about the bond, this is where it starts, and here's your irrevocable proof. Because if you scroll down to the bottom of the bond, you'll see those beautiful red digits, 0667342. And right up underneath that, you got to maybe blow it up a little bit, but it says Midwest Bank Note Company. Folks, this is that's why they call it a certificate. It's a security. That becomes an issue, ISSUE. An issue is where the bond starts placed. So when the child's born in the hospital, they're writing this up in their public hospital, and now they're going to make you a party to this system. So for hypothecation, and if you don't know what that means, folks, you get to go look it up. That's part of your class training. It's spelled HYPOTHECATION, hypothecation, because you become a hypothecation event upon your being born. So this was the whole thing. I looked further into the breakdown back years ago on a birth certificate bond. And if you'll go to the top, Mary, for those who don't have theirs in front of them, for those who do, they're going to be able to take a look at this. It's got digits in a box, 106-60-5403. And that's representative of 106 declaring the state of Connecticut. The 60 is declaratory of the year this new issue was born. And the 5,403rd became the 5,403rd attached issue for Harford County in Connecticut that year. So it's really, really simple, but as you further go down, it's got my weight, it's got all the special stuff. but the real kicker is, and this is what I didn't get until I dug into it deeper, was on this birth certificate bond, it's got my mommy and my daddy separated by a double line. And if you take a look at it, you see these. And yet I did not understand the intent of that until I started digging further. And it's ironic that the mother's name is different than the father's name. Well, the father, he could be there physically in the room, even at the birth of the child. He still considered giving over that child as abandoned property because the mother is the one who's stepping in as the informant. And it's on subsection 22. It says, I hereby certify that I attended the birth of this child who was born alive. Notice they use the word alive at the hour of 12:19 a.m. on the date above stated, and that information. See, folks, my mom gave over an information to the estate to create the estate, and this is where the estate starts. They copyright it, or I don't know if they copyright it or whatever, but I know it's part of the estate because my mother stepped in as, and so in essence, I become a bastard child almost for the estate, and this is how they can declare us dead as, walking, we know we're alive. However, this is how they claim the property, and then we become chattel property to the system of records. But we didn't know because, see, there's never full disclosure, is there, Mary?
No, good grief, no.
Did they share this with your mom? Hey, I'm sure they did not say to your mother and say, hey, by the way, you're giving over your daughter Mary to the estate as chattel property so we can have a hypothecation event. And if they said to you the truth.
They forgot to mention that. But, here's what really irks me. I mean, in my situation, I had a grandfather who was a doctor and another grandfather who was a politician. You'd think between them, they would have figured out something by the time I came along. Yeah.
Well, and I've stated time and time again, the whole damn system's compartmentalized, Mary, on multiple levels, and I've proven that by going down to the courthouse and asking for certain things because I'm the inquiring mind. I'm the deep drink. I want to know. I love to ask questions. So I make copies of, the bonds, the blank copies, and I'll go up to the third floor of the county offices and go deal with me a notary. But I don't go, I'm sharing the love, so I'm bringing my sugar and honey so I can actually get some information. And it's ironic, when I step through the window, she knows of the documents. However, I says, are you a party to filling these out? And she goes, oh, no, that's not me. That's the clerks that sit with the judges. I said, so, well, at least I got a straight answer because I went in nice. I don't want to be adversarial. Well, sometimes I do. But anyways, for getting information, I'm not afraid to go ask. Because I want clarification. I'm looking for the truth because I'm a truth finder. And when you stand fast in the truth, that's what gives you clarity. But like I say, I think the DAs are really left out in the lurch. Deatra sort of proved that because one of the public pretenders, he was calling her. They were calling her back an hour later and asking if she could teach a class. I was really suspect of them wanting her to come back and teach a class. I think I don't trust. I can't help it. I have a hard time trusting concealers because they're a lot less than forthright and honest. But I'm trying to prove a point that I really believe. There's so many layers. It's just like when I was in the military. If you didn't have the need to know, you didn't know. As a Navy doc, I'm privy to certain information. It's not everybody who's privy. So everything really is compartmentalized, whether it be in law enforcement, the military, the court system. So they've done an extremely good job of collectively keeping all these layers of this nasty-ass rotten onion, and when you peel it and you get to the core of it, it's dead inside. And so, but the sad part is they think that people who ask questions are being adversarial and all they want is truth and a little bit of answers. But no, they've got to go into concealer mode and in denial. That's what makes me crazy. Because if you have nothing to hide, like they tell us, then give me the dadgum truth. I can handle the truth. Yeah, like Jack Nicholson says. But see, so that means you have less than honorable intentions, and that's the whole point, folks. This has been collectively going on for hundreds of years, and they've made more layers to the onion. They've made more rule changes, more laws. Oh, and if you weren't aware, I mean, come on, folks. You know what? This is beyond insanity. You know what? whatever happened to just do no harm? See, that's the collective mindset we're supposed to be operating on, not friggin' Pythagoras' theorem on 20 million freaking statutes and regulations that you can't keep up with, that they can't even keep up, but they invent crap, banana eating on Tuesdays and Thursdays for generating some revenue. So it's a revenue generation capacity to draft you for performance, to drag your ass into their stupid-ass game, and that's, folks, this is where the collective mindset has to change. And if we don't, then they think they can get away with these dirty deeds. And, I mean, they steal people's children every day. Because you're a threat, because you don't want your children to have thimerosal and mercury in the poisonous shots they're putting out. And these people think, I say, you want a shot? Yeah, you're going to stand at the front of the line, and I'm giving the damn thing. Get your kids lined up here, too. I guarantee you, we ain't doing shots in Peter's house. So, that's not warring. That's, what? I don't want poison in my body. But they get you to sign over on those sheets so that they have no liability. They want you to have the liability, so when your butt goes to the boneyard or you go into anaphylactic shock and you die, well, hey, you signed, you sinned, you gave over. So, these are events that I'm not a party to, and I'm an educator on, so the medical side of the house is really where I live, but by default, I had to come over to this side of the fence to learn how all this garbage ties in. And, folks, that's the whole point of this exercise of why we're here today talking about a birth certificate bond. So for everybody who says, that's a crock, well, I've got a PDF for everybody to go look at so that they can have irrevocable proof that this is where it starts, because it tells you it's from Midwest Bank Note Company, and they're putting it in a drawer over at 55 Water Street at the Department of Trust Corporation. So I just wanted to share that. Well, and it does have 3 signatures on this document, and it shows the doctor's signature and also the registrar. And then when they released this document, you got Jane K. Pertel. She's a third party with her notary stamp, and I actually rubbed over some carbon paper so that seal would stick up. So everything is done in 3s, just like ecclesiastical law, like Brother Santos has covered. And the Vatican owns your souls, an incredible Brother Santos. Kudos to you, because if you're not really getting what's going on in court, Santos knocks it out of the park, because once you walk in, they effectively reduce you to the trustee position. So we're going to get into trust law about 4 weeks down the road, but right now I just need to keep it real simple, because it's all about the trust, folks. Trust law is actually pretty simple too, and we're not going to deal with so much of trust law, but they breach the trust because they think you gave over through registration everything that they think they own under the Lieber Code, under the Admiralty. 1861, we've been operating under this scam, and they basically moved it forward to the next level in 1871 when they made US Inc. and created that game. So, I mean, there's a lot of layers, folks, but it's actually easy to follow, and I've got collective information that can bring all this together in one little pot, and I post them over at my site. So that's the whole point of this exercise, is, like I say, doing these shows. Do you think we're headed in the right direction? Yes, ma'am?
Peter, I am surprised on this document that your mother actually never signed it, nor did your father. There's certainly not that nullifies it, but I am surprised that neither parent signed it, and I guess only because on mine, and you know what I mean by mine,
right.
My mother's. So, and here's the other thing is what if she had signed it? How might she qualify it so that it, by her definition, it was valid, but by theirs it was not? And the reason I ask is, let's face it, there's probably a whole bunch of expectant parents out there who, maybe out of fear or whatever, intend to bear this baby in a hospital, and they're going to get stuck with this birth certificate. How might, if indeed a signature is required by one parent or another, what do you figure is a good way to qualify it so that they maybe can go, yikes, look how she signed this, but like too little too late, because the mom would be astute enough to, I don't mean couch it or anything, but just, wise enough to kind of make their lives miserable, I guess, is what I want to do.
Right. Maybe let's box it, remove it off the page. What the hell? I mean, because they use nothing but tricks for kids on us, right?
Yeah, but Peter, everything's already in a box. Well, okay, wait a second. It isn't actually. It's in 3/4 of a box. If you notice, not counting the border.
Right. It's
So
open-ended.
where might you have signed it? Like I look at mine and I see where my mother signed it, but it would have been nice if she'd put it into a box or something. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
None
The
of
actual,
the other boxes.
it seems like if you look at the borders on the beautiful blue borders and everything, it seems like that's all bordered in by a box as well. So I'm just spitballing here. I mean, it's a beautiful red, blue borders and everything. Does that make this non-negotiable so that they steal the chattel or they make the chattel property theirs? Because the box does have some meaning on different levels. Except like I say, it's just so much concealing and so much other stuff. They never expect us to ask or put anything together. 2 + 2 = 4. So you're right. I see no signatures on here from either parent. So how is that qualified? You know what? You just brought up a great question. I never even really thought of not seeing the signatures. But I think because that it was I was born in a state hospital, it was automatically their presumption that this is part of the chattel property because it was Harford County in Hartford, Connecticut, where I was born at Hartford Hospital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. In other words, the presumption is always lots of fun anyway. So, it's just I noticed that my mother signed mine, but hey, we're talking differences between state and province and everything else. So, anyway, carry on.
Right. I guess here we go with splitting hairs. But like I say, if there was honesty, integrity right out the box, no pun intended, then we wouldn't have to go on these rabbit trail traces that we've been doing for our entire lives. And that's the sad state of affairs because there is absolutely no transparency. They don't care for us to find out the truth. They want us dumbed down to so we just become a good piece of chattel property and follow the rules. Well, it's not about that to me. I mean, that becomes a control mechanism because somebody said so. That's not a qualifying statement. That's a dictatorial statement from where I live.
Yeah. And plus, in this day and age, hell, they don't even give a damn whether their fraud is glaring or not. They just steamroll ahead. So it's almost as you splitting hairs is kind of a waste of our time.
Right. Exactly. It's just straight up naked aggression, and I believe that starts like I say with all the registrations. So folks, what you've done over time. Matter of fact, Mary, I did give clarification on this on many shows. When you go down to the DMV, nobody reads the dadgum document, and I read everything now. I don't friggin' I want to know what the hell they're saying on the damn document, so I want to know the truth. And here on the land over here in Virginia, they actually put on the document, it says, you are a vessel in commerce. It says it right on the document. I showed it to my wife. I said, look at this crap. I said, I ain't no damn vessel in commerce. I'm going to remove that presumption just by not doing this contract. So I didn't do the contract because when I read it. So, I mean, they're telling us sort of like even with the IRS, W-2s, W-4s, 1099s in their code shows it as an estate and gift tax under tax class 5 on those forms. But yet nobody's really reading between the lines. I found that out like 12 years ago about that information. So that's why I knew it was collectively about the estate and being the living beneficiary. And we'll go down that rabbit hole later on down in the curriculum. But I just wanted to start at ground with this one document. So to give everybody clarity, it really is. This is a starting point for the whole stinking game, and it's nothing but a hypothecation event.
Now you did have everybody. Sorry, did you have everybody read the BC scam?
Yeah, that will be next after we go to break here in about a minute or so, and that will be that's the beautiful document. And folks, if you didn't get that PDF, you definitely need to sign up to privatus.me and just once you're in, you can just click on mine, and it's under the 8-week curriculum. That's attached, and everybody gets a free copy of that. It's a PDF.
And I'll say this. I got to tell you, I don't like reading a lot of nonsense, but that BC scam is an easy read. It really was. I said, oh, wow, this is easy. This makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. By the way, folks, and he put it into digestible chunks for everybody to sort of get it, and that's why I stole that document from him. But I didn't steal it. He actually sent it to me, and he says use it wherever you may. He says share it with your courts too. Show them the love. So anyways, we will be having some. Go ahead.
No, I'm laughing. Show them the love. Yeah, but really, I'm going to reiterate.
Right, Mary. I'm just qualifying that I know you're screwing me. It's commerce. Look at the definition of commerce. It says intercourse. So I'm well aware of the commerce here.
There you go. Anyway, everybody read it because it's an easy read. You don't even have to read it twice. It's easy.
Right, and I'm gonna go over a little bit of it on the next half hour. We will be having Santos with us tomorrow on Blog Talk, and based on that, Mary, go get you a snort of coffee so you can keep up with me.
No, I don't drink any more coffee. No, don't let them drink any more coffee.
Yeah, I never drink it all day long.
That's one out there slow you down, you know.
Yep. Anyways, Mary, before we move forward with you, I've had Sister Terry hanging in the queue just for a second, and I would just like to bring her in and share a little bit on what she's learned since she's coming to privatist.me as far as getting her a little education to learn on. And Deatra would be so kind as to make her hot, which she probably already is. I just like a little feedback from Sister Terry.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Pete.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, honey. How are you?
Very good. Yep, a little cold up there, I bet, too, because I know it's cold down here.
Yeah, it's cold up here. I just wanted to say hi and thank you to you guys. Mary, you know I love you. I've been talking to you there for a while, and I'm glad you're on the call. I'm glad you came back and made everybody aware that you're still in the game.
Alive and well.
Yeah, everybody wanted to know what happened to Mary Croft. Says she's still alive and well. She hasn't disappeared.
Live and in color.
Yeah, she hasn't disappeared. She's still here. And, Pete, I want to thank you so much for what you're doing for this 8-week course. There's a lot of newcomers and asking a lot of questions. So it's great that you're taking it from the beginning, from the newcomers. Might be a little bit boring from us that we already know, but, hey, you know what? We can always go back and learn some more a second and a third and a fourth time. There's always new information. So I thank you for that.
You're welcome, and I thank you for coming in. And yes, Terry's she's effectively been learning a lot more, doing her heavy lifting, and she's got big arms now. It's a beautiful thing. That's what happens when we start carrying our own water. Like I say, freedom comes with responsibility to learn, and Terry's been an integral part of getting her learn on, and any information that she shares with me, I can share back with her and give her some direction of flow if she's not sure on something. And that's how we all grow, folks.
Oh, yes, we do. And, Peter, thank you for your site. It's I've learned a lot, actually. It's all there instead of me searching everywhere and going to every site and trying to gather information, because after a while it becomes like you become very tired, and it's like, this is great. You can go to one site and get it all there.
One-stop shopping.
Yeah, exactly, Mary. Shoes, clothes, everything, all in one place. It's great. So thank you guys so much. Thanks. Nice to hear from you again, Mary.
Thanks, sweetie.
Talk to you soon, guys.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. Anyways, I'm going to open up the birth certificate securitization scam just a little bit because, like I say, I just want, folks, this is a beautiful 14-page write-up from a brother who actually took the time to condense the information into a format that even I understood. So, like I say, folks, you know, I like to keep it simple, and this is where it really all comes down to is keeping it simple, and it really talks about the abstract, and he's talking about the Social Security number, the bond, Department Trust Corporation. All this information has validity. This is literally like the blueprint, follow the bouncing ball, on how we all got pretty much dragged into this hypothecation event because nothing moves in commerce except you via your signature. But what we were unaware of is they literally didn't want us to get access to. So in essence, they're getting all the benefits of the beneficial interest, and you're getting all the liability. That's why it's a limited liability corporation, and that's why some of us have already sort of stepped off the slave plantation. And because, like I say, it's a hypothecation event. So I'm going to cover just a little bit just to give a little direction of flow. And, Mary, you feel free to chime in because this is really, really well put together. If everybody in all these countries needs to read this, because this really breaks down. It pretty much is the same fit. If you're under an IMF-run country, and they've started your game by your birth certificate bond, this is really it fits everywhere. So that's, I guess, what I'm trying to get at. Anyways,
stop me where I'm wrong, Peter. But I think that's every country in the world, minus what, 1 or 2 or 3? I forget.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know there are some trying to shift. Our brother over there in Libya, because he didn't want to play ball. Folks, Mary, I want to share this. This is really, really important. I've read the Green Book on Libya, and Muammar Gaddafi was not what they painted him. Folks, that's what you get from the lamestream news media, is the slant. It's the lie. It's the twisted crap. Sort of like the war that our brothers and sisters have been fighting since 2003 under the guise of protectionism and freedom and democracy. Folks, what a crock of crap. You know what? They sold everybody the bill of goods, and you know what? It's all about control mechanisms. Matter of fact, the reason they went into Iraq, and I'm going to give you the straight poop, folks, I can prove it, is because they wouldn't hypothecate in American dollars, so we got to go whack somebody. They weren't a party to 911. They didn't have any yellow cake. They were caught in their proverbial lies, but everybody listens to the actual spin doctor. See, so, folks, the propaganda machine, shut the damn idiot box up. I don't watch the clowns at the circus anymore because I do for maybe 5 minutes before I puke, and that's just to see what lies they're telling me today, because that's pretty much what they're doing, folks. That's how propaganda works, and they're masters at bringing forth the propaganda, so your brain gets lost in the shuffle. But back to Libya, I'm going to share something with you folks. See, with your trust, your beneficial interest, and this should be for every country, everybody should be getting a dadgum dividend check. Your equity has built your infrastructure, your roads, and everything else. They funded it off the backs of you, the good, like US Inc., off the good faith and credit of the American people. Where's your dividend check? Well, because you registered over, they consider it all abandoned property and that you didn't want it, so the big corporations pocket the difference. The oil companies, the electric companies, the gas companies, and then they double dip you by billing you even though you have a private account. Like for us, it's the back of the Social Security number. That's the red digits with the letter, and that's an actual pass-through account. And you're not supposed to have, they never send you a true bill when they send you an electric bill, a cable bill, or anything else. They want to see if they can get you to come and play ball and pay again. So they're double dipping, triple dipping. I mean, what a scam, folks. I mean, so your energy has funded the whole system and your infrastructure. Where's your dividend check? But in Libya, see, Muammar, he was a beautiful man. All his people could get college educations. This is not socialism, folks. This is a different. This is a true free world where if you want to get a skill in any field, they will pay for you to get that skill. They will set you up with your house and in all that, because the assets from the company were actually being paid to the folks on when their oil revenues went out, the monies they made. Everybody got a dividend check. Well, folks, that's what you're supposed to be saying to yourself. Where the hell is my dividend check? Well, because we registered with them, they consider all given over and abandoned property to them. Well, I never had the intention of doing that. Where's my dadgum dividend check? And I'm not about the money. I'm just about the friggin' truth. These corporate masters have gotten to bed with, that's why they're all in bed with big pharma, big medicine, big oil, the military-industrial complex, because all these corporations are using the good faith and credit of the American masses as well as the Canadian masses, the UK, and they're hypothecating to fund their stuff, but they're keeping the profits. It's sort of like, Mary, are you aware of the CAFR accounts?
Yeah. Yeah.
I figured, I knew you. I just had to ask a question because I didn't want to banter on by myself. But, yeah, Walter Burian has done an excellent job on uncovering that, folks. If we were to add up all the counties in US Inc., on what's in those CAFR accounts, the second set of books that nobody talks about, there's over $110 trillion. Where's your dividend check? They don't even need your property tax. It's just another friggin' scam. They got you to step in as a corporation. So that's why I say, yeah, we don't own anything, but why are we paying for the right to survive, the right to breathe? Now they're creating what's called the carbon tax. So these are just little things that everybody has quit looking at and not thought about. But yeah, now not only are you paying for the water, they're creating a carbon tax. And the next step, Mary, this is what I'm hearing, is to put a mileage meter, I guess, on every vehicle so that you can pay some more tax towards the carbon tax to the IMF to fund the whores' little scams, because all these people breathing, that's wrong. They can't be breathing and not have to pay a tax for the right to breathe, folks. That's where we need to get our minds right and say now they want to get you to pay for the right to breathe. But it's all the corporations controlling the whole mechanism. So am I on the right track there, Mary?
No, it's gotten out of hand. But, if you don't laugh at this stuff, you'll pull your hair out, which is, and by the way, that kind of gets into this article I'm writing about our emotions. But we'll talk about that another time. But read my article, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and see, folks, we're just trying to give you direction of flow. This is how you get the mind to actually wake up, is when you start putting these 2 and 2 events together, it starts equaling 4, and you say, that's just not right. And it's not right. It is so wrong on so many different levels because of the layers and layers and layers of fraud, because these people don't have an honest bone in their body. But the problem is, you know what, they're actually funding their own demise, because when their useful purpose has become null and void, they'll be taken care of in a different capacity. So this is the sad part, Mary. I mean, it blows me away that we have these entities coming against their own brothers and sisters and causing such pain and duress, creating charges for basically a bondable event in court. It's commercial gain. All crimes are considered commerce. Doesn't matter if it's civil or criminal. It's a commercial, it's a hypothecation event behind closed doors.
In fact, a long time ago I wrote an article in which I said that the Attorney General of California actually said, and he was responding to Californians' complaints about the alleged illegal aliens, and he said, anything short of murder, we don't prosecute. Well, that speaks volumes, and if you want to know what I have to say about it, go find it on my blog. I can't tell you where it is. You'd have to look for it. But
and you're, in other words, yeah, I'm sorry, and you're right. Because matter of fact, my brother Gregg wrote a nice sweet little article, and I posted it out in the Skype rooms, and it's ironic where murder in the commercial arena becomes a hypothecation event, but if it was in common law and the jury of 12 found you guilty, you're going to hang. So instead of them hanging you, we have a hypothecation event because we can actually reduce it to maybe first degree, because, folks, every one of these degrees, so from misdemeanors all the way up to felonies, have a monetary stipend actually attached to them as a hypothecation event. So all crimes are considered commercial. So, hey, where else in the world where the legal system, it's called the legal system for a reason, folks. It's not lawful because they don't want to deal in common law where there has to be a damaged party or an injured person or damaged property or whatever. They want to deal with a hypothecation event, and that's what the whole scam is for.
And not to mention that all the laws apply to legal fictions, not men and women.
That's right. As a matter of fact, I've got a pile of Informer articles on my site under the educational page that really, really covers and separates, because all these people running around wanting to be sovereign citizens, folks, that's an oxymoron, and it doesn't fit. It shows that you're double-minded, and this is why if you say you're sovereign, they're automatically going to attach the other side of that statement, i.e. citizen, and you're one of their slaves. That's why, hell, Mary, the last 3 weeks, I've been covering about if you are signed up on the slave plantation, i.e. with a voter registration, until you remove the presumption, you're one of their slaves. And I believe when people go into court, they're looking up them on the voter rolls to see if they know who they are.
Do you think it's the voter rolls, or do you think it's just simply the existence of the BC?
Well, it all starts with the BC, of course, but these other events, these other adhesion contracts. So by coming over, if you swear in or whatever to go on to the voter rolls, you are saying you're a part of the body politic, and under the body politic, you're a 14th Amendment citizen slave. As a matter of fact, there's a beautiful article on my site. It's called Slave Who Owns You, and it specifically talks about that you don't have the right to challenge anything if you're stepped into the system as part of the body politic. So that's why I say, okay, folks, these are little things everybody can do. I even have a document, a template that anybody can send off, like here in USA, US Inc., you can send off to the Secretary of State, and she'll be following it up and sending it off to your local municipality that you're no longer a party of the body politic. And I say that since it's such a simple thing to do, it's a very viable thing to do, because you better remove the presumption. Otherwise, if you haven't, they will take the presumption by looking you up on the voter roll. So when they drag your ass into court, you want to be a free man and all this other vernacular that's going to bind you up, they're going to say, hey, he's double-minded.
Yeah. I just got what's comparable here. A friend of mine got a, what do you call it, a request. No, it's not request. But anyway, she was pulled in for not jury duty, but, well, you know, where they... okay, I don't know. Anyway, they wanted her to be on a jury, and it was quite serious. It was manslaughter. But anyway, she said, I don't want to do this. They're going to tie up 3 months of my life. And so I said, that's what you get for having a driver license, because that's the document here where they dig out these where they dig out people to serve on juries. Whereas I think what you're saying is, it's voter registration. That might be the distinction. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I guess maybe, I guess tricks is for kids, and they change it up in all the different countries. But I know here in US Inc., if you're on the voter rolls, you're part of the body politic. So if you're not on let's put it this way. I've never been on the voter rolls, and I've never gone to jury duty. I've never gotten a request to go to jury duty because I never signed in pleas. So I know in the U.S., because I had a lady in Arizona say, well, the commissioner wants me to come down and do this. I said, well, hey, all you got to do is rescind the damn signature, ab initio, non pro tunc. And I said to Michael, let's create a document so everybody can go ahead and send it off to the clowns at the circus to let them know they're not part of the body politic. And they have to remove you off the roll when you rescind. They have to. And matter of fact, I got 2 emails this week of 2 people who've already followed what I said. They got it back from the Secretary of State. You're no longer on the voter rolls. Have a nice day. Now they'll never be called for jury duty, because if you're part of the body politic, that's one of your benefits and privileges of the scam. Right.
Well, there you go. I think voter registration is vastly more significant in the States. In fact, I don't even know anybody up here who votes, which tells you a lot. But let's face it, most people have a driver's license, and I guess that's why that's the criterion they use in order to go after jury selection. So there's a distinction. There's one distinction. Let's not get into notaries.
Right. Yeah, but it's important. Like I say, so there is diversity between our countries. But see, like I say, here we go with this. Here we go with the concealing crap. If they would have told me this is why I read crap all the time now, because you know what? I'm not stepping in. You ain't getting my sin on nothing. You can kiss my rosy red butt, and if I do give it, I'm going to do it at arm's length. I'm going to put the son of a bee in a box, and you're going to get the friggin' memo. Yeah, because once I put it in a box, it removes it from the page. Matter of fact, I know somebody who did this 3 times on his driver's license. They said there was something wrong with the computer 3 times because he put his crap in the box. He red boxed his damn signature, and so they kept sending back that, there's something wrong with you. Anyways, they wouldn't tell him the truth because he red boxed the son of a bitch. They basically lied to him and said that the computer had a glitch. So he did it 3 times, and he red boxed it every time. And the last time they just said, well, we can't give you a license because of whatever. They gave him some BS excuse. See, they can't even be honest enough to tell you the truth. So, yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, you know how I think I would have handled that is if I say, you know what, I don't really care about whether I get a driver license or not. What I care about is that you certify that I know what in hell I'm doing when I'm behind the wheel. So just sign that I passed your silly test and we're square.
Yep. See, I found out in US Inc., basically when you sign the adhesion contract, the so-called for the driver's license, you complete the circuit. Now we're going to go to electricity here for a second because everything's electromagnetic flow in their system. The res, they want you to be a resident. That term makes you the energy for that corporation, that franchisee for the corporation. And you complete the circuit when you get the driver's license, then you get the insurance, and then you show them the proof, the title that the state owns it. So everything operates in threes. Isn't that amazing? And the ecclesiastical law courts, when you say, I do not understand 3 times, they ain't got a game because you didn't give over. But the minute you say you understand, the game is on like Donkey Kong against you because you traversed by saying you understood. So it's neat how these little nuances tie under this ecclesiastical law, and that's all it is. These courts are nothing but black magic courts to draft people for performance so they can get a game.
Oh, speaking of Do You Understand, I read this on Alfred Addis's website. I think it was his nephew, but I'm not certain of that. He went into court, and you know the old, you've been charged with blah, 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 do you understand? And he said, no, do you? Well, yeah, you see, because not too many people are going to get that. If the judge were to answer him at all, of course he's in trouble, but if he were to answer yes, I understand, that means he's just taken on the liability. If he understands no, then the kid can say, well, can we get somebody in here who does understand what's going on here?
Right, because you're right. And
lose for the judge, so when they say, do you understand, just say no, do you?
Right, right.
The buck, okay?
Well, and that's why when my brother Michael went to court, and I'm going to share this experience, he's in the DP, and he sent his documents in to let him know his status change and everything because he did a total status change. They got the memo, and when he went to court, he had his little white flag of peace, and he stood in the breach, and they were asking, "Are you Michael J. Bukowski?" He didn't get adversarial. He didn't go sideways. He just said, "I'm merely the living beneficiary and for the Michael J. Bukowski Estate Trust." And he established that he was a living beneficiary right up front because they knew he was living. They did this 3 times. Here we go with this ecclesiastical law stuff. So here's some more proof. And then when they finally, the judge goes, the last time sort of getting flustered because seeing if she could get him to come over and sort of upset the kid, because that's what they do is manipulation through their emotions to try and get you to come play ball. And he stood fast and he goes, "I'm merely living beneficiary for the Michael J. Bukowski Estate Trust." And he did that 3 times, and by the time she got to the 4th time, she asked him one more time, and he just said, "My friends call me Michael." And he goes, "You may call me Michael, and I have the birth certificate bond to settle the account here and now." And then you know what? She turned white as a ghost, and she looked at him, and she goes, you have a valid birth certificate?" And he handed it over to the dadgum, the one who brought the charge. And she brought it up to the judge's desk. This is a case. I can get you the case information and everything and prove everything I'm talking about. They conferred for a minute, the judge and the district attorney, and within about 3 minutes they just looked up at Michael and they just said nolo prosecu. And what that means is they removed the charge. They couldn't get a hypothecation event because if they didn't remove the charge, the one who brought the charge was going to have to bust out her checkbook and pay the damn deal, just like Sancho says right on his video, "The Vatican Owns Your Soul," which is on our videos page. It's beautiful. He worked it, and then now this is the beauty. At the end of the conversation, she's looking down at her papers, and she goes, "Michael J. Bukowski's free to leave." Then she looked straight up at him, eye contact, and said, "Michael, you're free to go." She recognized the man, and she looked up and actually recognized the man, and that was the end of that. So that was somebody who operated in his proper capacity, no traversing, no warring, and he just went in love and harmony and stood fast in his proper capacity, folks, and that's what it really comes down to. So here's a proof, viable proof, that if you know how to stand in your proper capacity, all this arguing, filing crap into these cases is the death of you. You're done. You can't do demurrers. You can't do affidavits. All this garbage, that's the traversing. Michael filed his private correspondence with double seal technology, private communication, so it could go to all those people in their capacity as private men and women, i.e. the judge could no longer hide behind her title, her bad actor title, and she was reduced in his correspondence to another person, not a person, but another live being, because that's how his documents were presented. So this is really, really very important information, and this is what we're teaching over at privateis.me. This is the education everybody needs. And if they can get this, it's so damn simple, most just won't get it. And he did the same with the IRS. He managed to get the IRS to go bye-bye. 3 presentments with his codicils and stamps to settle the account, and he has not received a boo from them ever since. As a matter of fact, they returned some copies of his original documents, and they weren't asking for anything, but they kept the instrument that he did to do the set-off if they had a valid claim. And so they kept the instrument, but they sent back the document on a 3369 form, this other document he had, and they put down and check-marked the box. I got it on my desktop under their 3369 form on return of documents, and they check-marked the box, and they wrote out to the living beneficiary of the trust, and they actually hand wrote it out on that 3369 form, which I have a copy of. So, like I say, I'm from the proof side of the equation, and that's what this is all about. Everybody wants proof, so we're going to start showing proofs, and that's why we set up Privatist.me, so everybody can start getting their game on without being aggressive, without warring with them, because when you stay in peace, they have no capacity to go, but they are going to test you. And they tested Michael in court, and he stood fast, and he got through the test. It was really that simple.
I often wonder what might happen if he'd said, I'm the sole beneficiary and living heir of the, estate of the Michael whatever trust, and then before another word could be uttered, what if he had said, I'll say that again. I'm the sole beneficiary and the living heir of the estate of the Michael, forgot his last name, trust, and I'll say it a third time. In other words, beat them to the punch so that they're not even, in other words, like so that they've got their heads in their hands. I often wonder what would happen if we just automatically said everything 3 times so they got that we got it.
Exactly. Well, like I say, and Mary, like I say, everything has to do with threes, because they know that if they can't shake you to not stand fast, if you stand fast for the 3 times, they have no wiggle room to move forward, because that's their stinking game, and they'll honor the game if you stand fast, but they will try and shake you. So Michael did an incredible job. We are at that break time again, so I'm going to let this go to break. Mary, I thank you so much for integrating. And I know I've been running my pie hole. Everybody's been Skyping me and say, Peter, shut up. But, hey, it's the damn coffee. Okay, next time I'll take a quail.
Don't have any more. No more.
No more coffee for Peter. It's beautiful. Hey, we're going to go to break, folks, and we'll be right back after this short little break. Thank you, Mary. I thank you so much for coming on the show. Folks, we have Mary Croft as a special guest. As a matter of fact, Mary, because you are the catalyst, I want you to share about your site a little bit. And like I say, your beautiful book, like I say, yeah, we know they've changed, moved the goalpost, but I want you to share a little bit about your site and, like I say, maybe a little bit more history that got you in, but definitely share, because you have an excellent site. I've been following your site for years, and it's, folks, yeah, I'll model myself after her because she's the man.
Oh, man. Oh, don't tell anybody.
With a pair.
Well, it's funny. I don't mind telling people I'm a Gemini. And the thing is, I have this mercurial nature where I get really, really optimistic, and away we go. We're winning. We're on top. We got them. And then I sink to the depths of depression and despondency. And that's where I do really, really weird things like tear down 4 months of articles because I think we're not going to make it here,
Right.
And then somebody else comes along and bucks me up, and I go, okay, we're on a roll again. And so, and I know because people have told me that my articles reflect this mercurial state of mind. So anyway, so, I don't want to say I'm back in the saddle because, well, you can't trust me on that stuff. So I did tear down about June through October. And I just said, to hell with this, until I get some actually really good information. I have to say, I do not have any attachment to being right. I have huge attachment, and I abhor being wrong. There's a distinction. I want to make the distinction. Being right's an egotistical thing. Being wrong is, oh, my God, whom have I destroyed by writing this? And I'm very conscientious. And so it disturbs me think I've tossed out information. I do not do it flippantly. That's why it takes me so damn long to write something, because I have to be accurate. Well, needless to say, the minute it's posted, I start thinking, oh no, and then I find out. So I got exasperated around Thanksgiving. That's our Thanksgiving, and I tore it all from about June. I just said, I don't know anymore what's valid information. So anyway, so I'm kind of recovering, and I don't mind telling you that I'm neurotic. I mean, anybody who knows me knows I'm neurotic. But you know what they say, blood type A's are the geniuses of the universe. So anyway, so I'm posting stuff. Doing it purely.
I think we lost her. Anyways, my daughter was working the computer, and it was causing me a little blocking.
Oh. All right. Anyway, I just want to reiterate. I'm going to post something soon, and I hope it sort of brings people up to speed. That's all I really wanted to get across.
And where's that at? What's your site?
Oh, it is spiritualeconomicsnow.net.
Very good. Yeah, it's a beautiful site. You give beautiful continuity of flow, and I'm of the same mindset. We both share the same paradigm. I do not want to mislead anybody, but information, that's where everybody has to dig in and carry some of their water and actually get on the right page, because all these different collective mindsets, they're in different directions and doing this and doing that. So that's why I want to be distinct, direct, and to the point, and give something concrete. You're the same way, so I don't want nobody falling on a sword, but at the same time, people need to process their information, and they need to really dig in and get their minds right on this information. It's really not complex, and that's the beauty of it.
Right. So now, with 20 minutes to go, we got to start taking a look at this BC scam, like just the concept of securitization, et cetera. I mean, you've already kind of pretty much broached the subject, but carry on. Give us a smattering.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I just want to read one paragraph, and this guy did such a beautiful job with this. I love it. Let's see. They have the introduction, and I'm getting a lot of echoing all of a sudden.
Oh, I wonder what's on.
Let me see if I can. I'm going to close down a bunch of sites.
I got a buzz. Maybe if I get rid of your.
I know it's really been echoing, and it's still echoing. Let me take a look.
Now, is that because I'm on Skype and that you're hearing an echo to me, or is it something else?
It's probably something else. Just recently started just this minute, so I've had no problems up to this point. So obviously it doesn't matter what you're on and what I'm on, because it hasn't done this until this last minute. Now it's not. Now, okay. This is a beautiful piece of work, this birth certificate securitization scam. I want to cover one paragraph where it starts, and this guy really broke it down to the simplistic, because everybody should read this if they're in this system. And I give kudos to this guy named Bill. He's the one who wrote this whole thing up, and he did an excellent job. And basically he covers the introduction. He just says, there was a time when the joyous event of a childbirth was recorded in the family Bible to signify the child's status as a member of the family's posterity with implied rights of an heir. To this day, the family Bible remains a lawful record, lawful, not legal, that is recognized in the legal system. But in 1933, when most privately held gold was confiscated by the Federal Reserve under Executive Order 6102, and obligations payable in gold were actually outlawed under the HJR 192, Public Law 7310, and the substance-backed economy was replaced by a financial system upon credit, IOUs, which are currently failing under the weight of its own nature. And then he really digs in deep. I'm going to go a little bit forward onto the second page, and Anyways, the question becomes, how does an unconscious paper corporation operating in an economy without substance control the population of living people under the original public trust charter? It's amazing that he talks about the trust, and that's where I'm going over the next 8 weeks, because this is the starting point, and it is all about the trust. It's all an estate created with the original birth certificate bond in the hospital, and that's where they lay it over, and they actually basically create the trust at that very given time. Anyways, he says the answer is self-evident. Organized commercial fraud, which applies ancient edifices of commercial sleight of hand, such as legal fictions, certification, registration, and securitization, to achieve outcomes which would otherwise be impossible and certainly repugnant to the founders. Anyways, translation, the machines harness the people's commercial energy, their res, through a matrix of scripted distractions and diversions wherein fraud, falsehood, and fallacy supplant the law until amnesia has become endemic. And it has become endemic, Mary. Nobody thinks beyond the pale. They're like my parents. They were told, well, this is what you do, instead of researching and saying, well, how did this get turned around where for the right to breathe and maintain a property became an event, a hypothecation event for a financial stipend, when the whole system is already funded off the good faith and credit of your back, but you're not getting the dadgum dividend check. They're collecting the dividend check, the corporations, through this massive hypothecation scheme. Anyways, one more paragraph, and I'm going to get off this page. This is a must-read for everybody. And feel free, Mary, you can post it on your site. But I'd like to I'm trying to keep this all compartmentalized on privatist.me, so every week they can attach to to this audio that every week I do with the attaching documents. They'll all be under the same structure, so they won't have to go looking for it. So I'm going to keep this simple, and it'll all be controlled.
What I intend to do is, I'm not going to post any of your material. That would just make people crazy. What I'm going to do is make sure I just list your website and and explain what's where, and then that's about it. And also your calls and what, Saturday night and that sort of thing. So, I won't start listing stuff, or people will be going back and forth. It'll be nuts.
Right. We're just going to stick it in one portal so everybody knows where to come. That's why, see, this is where we get the collective community to come together in one portal. Because if they're not getting the other information that I speak of, that we're speaking of, on how, about the living beneficiary and those informations, they're not going to get the whole piece. They're going to be fractured by going to 5 different sites. So this way, I'll collectively put everything in one repository, so no one ever has to go looking anywhere else. So this 8 weeks with the attachments will all be posted on one page, on a curriculum page in the privatist.me site under Mind, M-I-N-D. So we're trying to get our minds right. That's why Michael posted it under Mind. It's the third icon over on the homepage. Once they're signed up for free, they'll have access to every show, every attaching document of what we covered, so it will give them continuity of flow. This is my whole objective, is continuity of flow for all of us. So that's why the clouded mind says no, because there's no continuity of flow. We're doing a Marine Corps exercise, an education. This is Navy. We're going to boot camp, and they'll all get it if they come to the same boot camp. So I think that's how we get the collective mindset to come as one big unit, and this is where my mind went when I decided to put this curriculum together. Anyways, one more paragraph, and I'll open it up for calls for if there is any. Anyways, this system, this is known as the legal system. Listen to the words, folks. Legal, a profit-inspired veneer for the universal system of voodoo accounting, explained in this article, the Uniform Securitization Scheme, which runs invisibly as the operational schematic that underlies all public events, be it a birth of a baby, the issuance of a currency, economic bailouts, a court case, a purchase, a loan, a mortgage, or a real estate transaction. Without your awareness, virtually every event of your life which involves a public institution has been covertly superimposed on the underlying uniform securitization scheme revealed in this article. So, folks, this is your homework. Matter of fact, I had a chuckle, Mary, because on one call back when I was doing the other shows, I actually said, and I was laughing about this, and you're going to laugh too. I says, I said, what the hell? Do I got to go to these people's houses and actually read the damn document for them? And I ended up actually reading the damn document on one show for 2 hours, and I went through every paragraph and all the information, but I'm not going to do that anymore. So all I'm going to do is leave.
Oh, it was boring. You can't listen to somebody read for any length of time unless it's a really great fiction or something. But, yeah, no, they got to read it. They piece it together.
Right. Freedom comes with responsibility for everybody else to do a little bit of carrying their own water. So, and I say that. So I'm going to give them all the collective tools to help them get their collective mind right, and that's why I stuck this whole curriculum under the mind page on privatist.me. So this is where we're starting, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm really I'm excited because I feel like we have an open door for direction of flow for the masses. So even if they miss the 8 weeks, they're going to stay posted on the curriculum page for anybody else to get the memo if they're willing to come back and just click on the icons and the PDFs and follow that show that I already did. So I think that's going to provide all the continuity of flow everybody needs. I can't, like I say, I'm not going to go into huge history lessons and stuff, but I definitely want to cover some meat and potatoes information so it gives everybody clarity so they don't think this birth certificate thing has got nothing to do with nothing. That's why I want to give verifiable proof on everything I post.
Mm-hmm. Good. Well done.
Matter of fact, what's the name of your book that you did write in 2004? What was the name of that book again on spiritual economics now.net?
Stop. Yeah. I was going to say yes, and there's only one. Everybody, I can't tell you the number of emails I get where somebody says, oh, I read your books, and I think, God, do tell me, what else have I written in my sleep here? So it is called How I Clobbered Every Bureaucratic Cash Confiscatory Agency Known to Man, a spiritual economics book on money and remembering who you are. And if I could suffix that, it would be, and remembering who you are not. Which we'll get into.
Oh, yeah, right, right. That's the other powder keg, yeah. Because you sure as hell ain't the fiction name that's reposited at the repository at the DTC.
Ah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, when I get mail, I was going to show you a piece of mail earlier. I get. They all send me offers, but I always send them back. And I put a big X through it, put deceased and undeliverable as addressed, and return to sender. And they're getting the memo. They're sending me a lot less these days.
You're kind of choppy, Peter. You're kind of chopping there. It's like a little staticky or something. Any idea what's going on? You think they're sabotaging you?
Yeah. That's my bro. That's the spirits on the other side who they got nothing better to do than listen to Brother Peter share truth.
Yeah.
Anyways,
right.
I'm going to open it up. I'm just going to open up for hey, whatever. You know what? Hey, if you got to busy yourself with worrying about what I'm saying, you're really missing the boat because it's all I guess when their minds, hearts, and spirits aren't right, they think they're actually upholding something that's good, but they're going to get the memo eventually too. It all is on the wheel, sweetie. They're going to get it. I do have an open caller I'd like to take, I guess, while we still got a couple minutes, if that's all right. Deatra, feel free to let the 347 caller come in, I guess.
Yes, hi. I wanted to know, what is your Skype name? The Skype.
What
Can
was
you
that?
hear me?
Sort of.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you.
Skype name.
Choppy.
I wanted to know the Skype, your Skype name.
No, I'm not going to say that over the speaker, sweetie.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, I thought it was open. I'm sorry. I thought it was open for everybody. Okay.
Well, no, then I'm going to have 5 million people trying to come into my Skype room. I don't do that. It's only by invite only. So you can send privatist.me an email if somebody wanted to correspond that way. I have no problem with that, but I don't put it out for public consumption.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. Anybody else, Deatra? Okay. Terry, are you still there?
Oh, did you say Terry or Mary?
Yeah, Terry. Terr.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey.
Hey. Hey, Pete. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It's like one of them phone call commercials.
I'm still here. I'm still listening. I got my ears on.
Very good. Anyways, matter of fact, hey, just for 2 seconds, I would like you to share just for 1 minute or a couple minutes about your son's conversation with some barristers up there in Canada. What he shared with what you shared with me before when he was sharing about the bond information with those guys.
Oh yeah, my son went to a Christmas party, and he has a friend of his that became a lawyer, and he was there with a criminal lawyer. His friend's a real estate lawyer, so there was a couple of lawyers there at the table, and the criminal lawyer was discussing a case that he had this guy that was a drug dealer, and he couldn't draft him for performance, so he was trying to get his girlfriend in, and they were discussing how he was going to do it. Says if we get the girlfriend in, then maybe he'll talk. So my son thought that was like pretty nasty to do. So he asked the guy straight up. He goes, "Well, which one are you trying to get in? Her legal person or her as the woman?" And he looked at him, and he said, "Who is this guy?" To his friend. He said, "He's pretty smart, so you better watch what you're talking about in front of him." So he said, "Well, isn't it all about the bond?" And he told him about the bid bond, performance bond, the payment bond. The guy's mouth dropped. He said, "You're not supposed to know this stuff." He goes, "Where'd you get this information from?" And he said, I just want to ask you a question. How the F do you sleep at night?"
That's right.
He said, "How do you go to sleep knowing what you're doing to us?" He goes, "Because I don't know." He goes, "I wouldn't be able to sleep." And they just shut right up, and he knew right then and there that it was definitely about the bond. So he came home, and he said, "It is definitely about the bond." He said, "I'm not supposed to know this stuff." And he said, "Well, knowledge is power." And the guy didn't say one word to him. He said, "Yeah, but that's too much knowledge."
Yeah, that's right. They don't want the sheep waking up and actually knowing it. Folks, like I say, it's all about a hypothecation event, and that's why we're starting at the very beginning. This is so beautiful because this is going to give everybody a lot more clarity on the game, and that's all it is, a game, a money game on them to exhaust everybody's beneficial interest and rape the estates because they think you don't know who you are, and if you're operating in the dead capacity, you don't. That's beautiful. Thank you, Terry, for sharing that. That was beautiful.
No problem.
Anyways, hey, folks, here's some more irrevocable proof. Matter of fact, Sister Diatra, she had a little showed him a little love, asking for the bonds, and once she knew that the fraud was perpetrated upon the court, she was going to step forward to move to the next level. They didn't want to talk to her ever again. They said, "Have a nice day." And they had her binded up on a whole different way, folks, and she just wanted to go settle the account and share the love. Well, they didn't want her to know that their hands were caught in the cookie jar. So, folks, we're uncovering the cookie jar on multiple levels. And, like I say, if they had honesty and integrity, and see, that's where I do say settling the account is always going in honor. And, hey, you just want to take care of it. But the concealers don't want us to know this. So that's all right. Anything you want to know about bonds, folks, go to privatist.me. I got all sorts of information on the bond stuff. So thank you so much, Terry, for sharing that. So just in case everybody thinks that there's no trickery, that they're operating in honesty with an integrity, there is no honor in the public. And they're stealing and raping the estates in the private through the corporation. And it's all about the corporations, folks, not about you. It's about hypothecation. So we'll uncover this over the next 8 weeks, and everybody's going to get the memo on a different level.
Hey, Pete.
And, yep.
Pete, you can also share with the listeners about the hazard bond with the if the police would to stop them on the side of the road, and because Jordan's done that too, and it's about that bond too because they're flying without a net. So you might want to share that story. Yeah,
real quick. Folks. Basically, anytime a cop gets out of his car, he's operating in full unlimited commercial liability. In other words, if he's in his car, that's his so-called safe zone. Once he steps out and comes into your domain as a private man or woman, he's operating in his full unlimited commercial liability, and you have the right to say, "Hey, before we can move forward, I'll be glad to give over to you anything you want, as soon as I see a copy of your hazard bond, the name of the underwriter, and I'll need the name of your risk management office with their phone number so I can make a phone call to make sure that you're operating your proper capacity. And then on the same breath, you can ask him to get his boss, because you'll need to see his bond too. In most cases, folks, they'll just say, have a nice day, and send you down the road. But you got to know how to operate, and you got to know how to put it where you're not being adversarial, but you do have the right to ask. This is what I'm saying, folks. They are scared witless when you start having a little bit of knowledge. And I actually have a document. I'll post it to the site on exactly how to handle that, and that will be posted on privates.me. So keep a copy of that in your car so you'll know how to operate. You're not going at them. You're not being adversarial, and you're not warring. But you do have the right to know that this guy who wants to draft you for performance is not operating without a net. Just like the DAs who bring the charge, their bond is supposed to be put up for every case, because every case is considered a new constructive trust, implied or otherwise. So we cover that over at privates.me. Won't cover it now because we're getting down to the last 4 minutes of this call. I thank everybody for coming tonight. Mary, I especially thank you because you are a pioneer. We love you. You have done an incredible thing. And, yeah, maybe your information, but folks, that's the starting point, because what she's put together brings clarity to how all this got started. And now they've moved the goalpost. So, like you say, Mary, it's all naked acts of aggression now. They don't even care. So if we don't get our collective mind right in our mindset to come together, it's going to be more of the same except 10 times worse.
Yeah, we have to join forces. I thank you for the acknowledgement. It was a great time. Let's do it again.
Yes, we most definitely will. Yeah, and I will always create a format for you. So, like I say, I don't want anybody to have to do any heavy lifting. We just need just a little clarity and thought to follow the bouncing ball, for lack of a better term, right?
Yeah.
And so I thank you so much for calling and coming tonight. And everybody out here, give kudos to Sister Mary for bringing us to such a beautiful paradigm shift for all of us, because now the collective masses can all get it together. And this is a lady who started it, and not in a bad way. Folks, we just want the truth. We're not we're not about adversarial. We're about just the truth. The problem is the other side of the fence doesn't want to play by the same rules, because they recreate them every day that they can. So this is where...
Peter, I thank you for putting your ass on the line and creating this, as you say, curriculum. I think this is a great idea. This is a great place to start.
Excellent. And with that, folks, if you're feeling snippety, let's keep Blog Talk Radio and keep these collective voices coming forward so everybody can get the collective memo. And feel free to go to the Blog Talk and donate a couple of dollars, folks, because you know what? Because if we go silent, it's not going to be a good thing, because then the collective information can't come forward. So by you supporting what we're doing, and I also posted out, I have two excellent PDFs that I would attach for anybody who doesn't want to get binded up by the big pharma scam, because there's so much good stuff that you don't have to get binded up by. These two books, they'll stand. One's about cancer, and literally modalities that are so easy to do that they'll never want to talk about. Same with the other one's 1 Minute Cure, and it talks about food-grade hydrogen peroxide, which makes the body very oxygen-rich. And when your body's alkaline, you don't have to worry about those little things setting up shop in your body so you can get cancer and stuff. So just simple things, educational, and these are the tools I create. And, most of them are already posted on the cancer page as well for the privates.me members. Anyways, I thank you so much, Mary. You are a true kindred spirit.
Oh, thanks, Peter. And don't forget rebounding, because it stimulates the lymph system, which is the soul, the seat of our immune system. That has to be done. So I'll give you more info on that if you're not clear. So add it to your...
My curriculum, a couple more pages we can fill in with all fill in all the gaps. I thank you. And folks, like I say, that's freedomreigns.us. And if you'd like to donate, like I say, it'll keep this spirit in the spirit of things moving forward for all of us, because we all are binded by our true spirit. I thank everybody for coming tonight. Mary, I thank you very much. And, folks, yeah, you need to go over her site because she's got beautiful stuff. She knows how to put it in a proper context. Even I get it. So it's a beautiful thing, and that's at, what's the site name again one more time, Mary?
One more time. It is spiritualeconomicsnow.net. Don't forget the now.
Right, that's right. Very good. And, folks, with that, I bid you adieu. I will see you Tuesday, and we're going to probably go to the medical side of the fence, and we'll cover some other things, and you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Mary, thank you very much. And, folks,
thank you, Peter.
We love you all. Thank you. We love you all. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.